Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Why don't you guys sit back and enjoy this video? Let's go for a ride. Good morning, everybody. I've been wanting to make this video for a minute. Public service announcement, I guess, because I want to do you a public service. One of the things I wanted to say to a lot of people who are getting into trucking is, hopefully you see this video before you get into trucking. A lot of people need to research trucking better. Prime Inc. is a great company. If you go to Prime Inc., hey man, put me down as a referral. I make a couple of bucks. My driver code is HAGGDA. You just throw that down as a referral. Again, HAGGDA, or don't. Don't matter to me. What's more important is that I get this video out there. I see a lot of guys coming in to trucking and almost immediately either not making it through training or not making it even 6 months and going home, quitting. Then there's some guys who just they decide to stay the year and struggle for the year, completely miserable. Go ahead and shut that off. That might be too noisy now that I think about it. The APU will kick on, so we won't die in here. Completely miserable for that year, and all they do is bash and tell everybody how horrible trucking is. Because they're miserable, which is fine. Trucking isn't for everybody. Let me give you a couple of things you need to really think hard about before coming out here and becoming a truck driver. Number one, if you've got a family with young kids, especially, think about something else. It's probably not going to be for you. You may think, oh, you know what, but, I'll go out there for a couple of weeks, come back home. Or you might even think, I'll do my year and then I'll get a local gig. Couple of things. Most trucking companies, especially your first year, I was reading a text, your first year companies that have gotten you your CDL, you're not going to be out for a couple weeks and then go home for, a lot of people, a week or 2 weeks or whatever. They generally are going to let you take home time one day, if you're a company driver, one day for every week. Okay? So, and then they're going to want you to be out like at least 3 or 4 weeks at a time. Most companies are going to cap it off at 4 days. So it's not like you're going to, I'll stay out for, 2 months and then take all that time off. Probably not going to happen. If you're a lease driver, a lot of guys go into lease. Well, we'll get into lease in a minute. So think about that first. Are you going to be able to be away from your family, your young kids? You might think, yeah, I can do it. And then you go home for that first or second home time and those little babies are looking at you, daddy, daddy, or mommy, mommy, please don't leave. Then the wife's starting to get lonely. Okay, now you got, let's say you don't have any kids, you just have a wife or even a girlfriend at home. Can you leave them for weeks at a time without getting depressed and lonely to where this job is miserable for you, to where now they start, you need to come home or I'm gonna leave you? It happens all the time. A lot of guys come out here and they end up with divorce, or lose their relationship. A lot of relationships, I don't care how strong you think they are, won't handle you being gone this long. So think about that. Really talk to your significant other about, can you do this? And again, can you do this for at least a year so it pays off my loan and I don't get stuck with a big bill? The other thing is can you do it? Can you be out here living in a truck, not getting showers every day, not, having to brush your teeth in a bathroom that smells like crap, or, brush your teeth in the truck or outside or whatever. Eating poorly is a big problem out here. Eating poorly, if you go to a right company like Prime, they got APUs in here, inverters. I don't know if you can hear the air that kicked on once I shut the truck off. That is our APU air conditioning kicked on, and it's blowing air up front here. So you can keep, you can get a refrigerator, microwave, put a hot plate in here, all kinds of ways to cook and whatnot. So you don't have to eat poorly all the time. Sometimes you're in too much of a rush. So that's a big problem. Eating, getting the right nutrition out here. Gaining weight can be a problem. Are you good with all that? Can you be disciplined and deal with all that? Let's forget about the things at home. So you need to think about that. Are you going to just, because a lot of guys get out here and they're just like, oh my God, I can't be away from home. My friends, my family, my kids. So that's a biggie. That is a big, big, big one. Is the family. Then, you got the guys that this just ain't for me. I don't like driving 500-600 miles a day. I don't like, because a lot of things you'll get on a load, you'll take a 10-hour break, you got it, and you'll have to get up after that 10 hours, maybe get a quick shower, get your teeth, maybe some food down your throat, and you got to get on the road and you got to run balls out. 9, 10, 11 hours even, 30-minute break is the only thing. There's times, I've said, oh my God, I don't have time on this load to even use the restroom. It happens. Rarely that happens, but it can happen, where you just got to go balls out to get the load there on time. Do you have what it takes to do that? That can stress on people so bad that they're just like, this job is miserable. I cannot do this job. And then they want to go home. Again, if you go with one of these mega carrier learning companies where they put you through the school and you got to fulfill a year or 2 years at some of them, Prime, it's a year unless you're military. Then I think if you have military, I think it's 9 months, but don't quote me on that. If you don't fulfill that year, now you get that bill of $4,500, $4,900, $38, whatever it is, but it's up there. And a lot of guys, well, I just ain't going to pay it. Well, then, if they, I ain't going to pay it and, I don't have anything. My screaming meanie just jumped off the wall back there. Well, one day they'll go to buy a car or buy a house or, try to get credit, and boom, there it is, this insufficiently paid bill. And they go, sorry, I know this was your dream house, but... So anyways, you don't want to get into that situation where you're just going to ignore the bill and then have a problem creep up later. Now, I'm not interested in any comments of people saying, well, I didn't pay it and I haven't had any problems in the comment section. As a matter of fact, I will delete those because I do not want other people to put into other people's head, be a flake and don't pay your bill. So I'm going to delete any of those comments, because just because you didn't pay your bill and it hasn't got you yet, that doesn't mean in a year you're not going to go to buy that car or house or whatever and have a problem. 2 years, whenever you owe that money, it is there, and it might just take a while for them to process, because a lot of people drop out of trucking, and I bet you the paperwork involved is big. But anyways, there's that. Let's not be a flake and quit and get a big debt for the schooling. Okay, so let's move on from there. Now one of the things is when you're in training, being on a trainer's truck can be difficult, stressful, downright irritating, and a horrible experience, which can turn you off from trucking. One, you might get a trainer that smells. You might get a trainer that is pissing all over the place in here. You might get a trainer that's just rude and doesn't even want to train you. They just want you to drive your miles and make them their miles money. So then when you go ahead and upgrade and you get your own truck, now you don't really know how to run that truck. That right there can be stressful. Imagine getting into your truck, you upgraded, you're like, woohoo, I'm going to do this, and then all of a sudden you get your first dispatch and you look at it and you don't know what to do with it. You're like, well, wait a minute. My trainer always took care of this. What do I do? That's not good. Puts you in a very stressful situation. Then if you don't get trained how to do comm checks, how to deal with overage and shortages, how to deal with vehicle breakdowns, these are all things you need to, learn how to deal with. Watching videos on YouTube helps you learn a lot of things. Myself, I learned a lot from Junior Honduras videos. Matter of fact, the first time I was driving the truck in PSD and I got to a shipper, it was a drop and hook, and my trainer's just sitting back there over here and, okay, go ahead and connect up to it. Well, I had no clue how to do that, so I go outside and I flip on Junior Honduras. Okay, I got it, and went ahead and did it because I didn't, so I'd use YouTube a lot to figure out how to do things. Now, your best thing to do is talk to your trainer and say, look, man, right up front, before you get on that trainer's truck, are you going to train me in everything I need to know? Am I going to be allowed to ask questions? Or are you somebody who flies off the handle when if I make any mistakes? My trainer I had was really good, and when you made mistakes, he did not fly off the handle. He was really good about making mistakes. Although I only made a couple mistakes. What are you gonna do, man? You can say, maybe if I made more, he might have got pissed off. But, yeah. So anyways, that's a big stressful thing. A lot of people don't even make it through training. So think about all that. Then once you go to upgrade, they're going to want to know if you want to go company or lease. A lot of guys I'm going lease. Everybody's making $1 zillion lease. I looked on YouTube. This guy's making $3,000 a week. That guy's making $2,800 a week. That guy's $1,600, $1,700 on his bad weeks. This guy's making $4.5 million a week. Oh my God, this guy made $300,000 for that year. He got on YouTube. He said, "Oh, this last year I made $300,000." So you're thinking 300,000 divided by 52. Oh my God, I'm making like freaking a shit pot of money. I was working at McDonald's for $3.25 an hour. Take your money situation on YouTube, throw it out the window. 99% of it is baloney. Okay? I stopped doing paycheck videos. I don't think I ever did a lease operator video, but I did a couple of company driver videos. Those were accurate to what I did as a driver. Now, one of the things I forgot is you may not do that as a driver. You may go, you know what, David, I want to sleep for 12 hours. I don't want to wake up and then just drive. I want to wake up, go in, have a sit-down breakfast, do this. Next thing you know, 12, 13 hours went by. Now I'm going to drive, and I'm just not going to hustle. If you don't hustle, your loads are going to reflect that. Your loads, if you show them right out of the back, hey man, I can only drive 300 miles a day, your loads are going to reflect that, and your money's going to be down. But if you hustle and you're like, I got there early, I'm getting there early every time, I'm not late, boom, 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 your loads are going to get shorter time frame, which means you got to run hard to maintain that. But when you do that, now you're making more money a week because you're getting in that extra load. Right now, freight rates are horrible. Freight is iffy, so coming into trucking right now is going to be stressful just because there's waiting for loads or you don't get the miles, so on and so forth. So you're sitting in there, I'm going to go lease because these guys are telling me I'm making $10 million a week. And then you lease a truck right out of the bat. It takes you about a week to get into it and everything, so your deferred payment has been used up. A lot of people think deferred payment means free payment. Some think it means put it at the end of the loan. No, they are going to charge you every week until that truck payment's paid off. Okay? It's not a big amount, $29, something like that, $30, whatever it was. $29 plus you got your, I'm going to call it a security of $30 a week until it's paid off. I think it's $1,500. It's called something else, I believe, but I can't remember. So anyways, you got those coming out of your check. Now you get out there and you go run lease. You get out there your first week, you get your paycheck, and by the time you take taxes out, if you pay taxes, because a lot of you guys are going to decide, what do I need to pay taxes? They didn't take it out of my check, so what do I need to pay it for? Why do I need to save? Or I'm going to say, I'll just pay the taxes at the end of the year. I'll put money aside, pay it at the end of the year instead of the quarterly. So you get that $1,300 paycheck, you put it in your bank, and the wifey's takes a little here, you take a little there. Mortgage, car payment, do. Okay, that money's gone. Now you run your next week. You didn't get as many. You didn't get a good load because, or you got a decent load, but the load took you so long to run that you only got that one load or two smaller loads in, and then that third load to make your good paying week didn't pay out that week. It paid out for the next week, so now this paycheck may only be $900, $800. You know what? That's really okay. We can't put any money into savings this week. We'll wait for the next big paycheck. So now you go your next week. Oh man, you got a few good loads in, plus you had the money from the load that went from the prior week. I got a $2,000 paycheck. Sweet. Put it in the bank account, man. We made good money, dear. Go ahead and get that jacket you were wanting to get. I know you don't need it, but you're worth it. I love you very much. Buy the kids the bicycles they always wanted. I'm going to go ahead and get me a new Nintendo for the truck. I'm going to buy a new TV, too, for the truck. Next thing you know, that money's gone. Next week comes by, you don't have such a great week because they tend to be good, even in company. Good week, bad week, good week, bad week. Rarely do you get two really good weeks. So what happens, your good week and your bad week, you average those together and you have decent weeks, okay? But now you go 6 months, a year, you had a couple of you had a breakdown. It completely sucked the life out of your money because you didn't start an e-fund, because you don't want to take that money out of your check. You want your whole amount. Next thing you know, if you make it a year, you probably won't even make it a year doing it that way. But if you made it a year, now taxes come around. I owe $12,000 in taxes. Let me look at my savings account because I was going to save and pay at the end of the year. I got $1,000 in my savings account. What am I going to do? Now you're making payment arrangements with the IRS. So now you're going to start your next year trucking, paying the IRS for the previous year, plus you got to pay for that year. What do you say? F trucking, I'm out of this. Lease is a ripoff. You can't make any money. You can't do that. You can't blah, 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 blah. Okay, now, if you did it correctly, I know guys who are leasing, running solo, and are making money and living good because they're doing it correctly. Each week, you put a little bit of money in for an emergency fund. Each week, you take money out for taxes. Each week, you go, okay, this money's going into our savings account for our future. This is our budget money to pay bills, and so on and so forth. Next week comes around, same thing, money to the e-fund, money into tax fund. This is what you get to live off of. The rest goes into our savings account. Next thing you know, the end of the year comes, they go, well, also pay your taxes quarterly, not yearly. So let's say the first quarter comes, they go, hey, you owe $2,000. You look in your savings account, you've been saving for taxes, you got $3,000 in there. You're like, okay, here you go. Don't go, I have $1,000 extra, let's take that and spend it. Don't go, I got $1,000 extra, let's just use that for the next quarter. And then no, you leave that alone and you keep adding your taxes to it, okay? Next thing you know, at the end of the year, you pay that final quarter. You might have $3,000, $4,000 extra. Hey, look at that. That was like a savings account. Now, at the end of the year, when they tell you you do not owe anything, or you know what, you owe, it was an additional $500, or you're going to get $500,000 back, whatever. Now you can screw around with that money that is left over in that. And I would highly suggest you take that money and put it into your savings account. Do not let's just buy a bunch of crap. Now at that point, if you want to get a new TV, bada bing, bada boom, whatever, okay, do it. You've saved money all year for your savings account. You've paid your taxes. The wifey's at home, car payment, house mortgage, everything's paid there up to date. It's literally extra money. Take at least half of it, put it in your savings. The other half, okay, maybe take the wife out to dinner, a little spank and spank, whatever you gotta do, you know, whips, chains, whatever, ropes, whatever. That's a better way of doing it, guys. Now, doing it that way, I made it sound like every week you're going to be doing this. No, you're going to have weeks where you're like, you know what? Well, we ain't going to be putting nothing. We're going to pay taxes. We're going to take care of our bills, but we ain't going to put, you know, we might put $5-10 in our savings account because it was a low-paying week. But then the next week, it's like, oh, well, now we got that big money. Now we make up for the savings account. But that's why you got to put the money in every week. And not go, ooh, I had a great week. I'm not going to put money. I'll put $100 in savings, take this $500 extra and play with it. Because your next week, you might be in the negative. How do you go into negative? Well, you go into negative by taking too much time off. Your emergency fund, I highly recommend do not take time off till you got your fixed costs in that emergency fund. So when you take your time off, you can tell them, hey, I'm going to take 3 days off. I need you to take $600 out of emergency fund. Throw it in my statement. That way, when your truck payment pops up, you're not in the negative. I would highly suggest that when you go to take time off, not only do you have the money in your emergency fund to pay your fixed costs, but also have your fun money. Have your money. Hey, we're going to go to the beach. We're going to go barbecue over there. I need to bring steaks. Have that money. Have your living wage. Make sure you're not going to get behind on bills or anything. It's not hard to do, but the problem is it's discipline and it's running out here. You might have to run 6-7 weeks before you can take, you know, a couple of days off. Go ahead, some of you guys that take off a lot of time lease, go ahead and be honest with yourself and think about the money that you would be making versus what you're making. It would be a lot more money. And I know if you take a lot of time off lease, yeah, you're going to have the guys, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Well, yeah, that's because you probably have little bills, spend a little money. You're probably not putting money in savings, so on and so forth. One of the things you always want to do, guys, is have an emergency fund because you just never know when you're going to be out there and you're going to have a blowout and it's going to cause you to miss your appointment, which is going to push the appointment for a day or even 2. So now you don't get the loads in that week and you're in trouble financially. But if you have an emergency fund, hey, throw that over there. Lease can be a scary thing. Now, let's just say lease is a scary thing to most people. You can lose money in a lease. I'm not going to BS you. I'm not going to say, hey, you're going to make money. You can lose money if things don't go right. If you got a lot of breakdowns, let's say, you miss a couple appointments, things like that, you're going to lose money. And if you got a lot of bills at home, you start getting behind on those bills. You're not making good money out here because you had a couple of breakdowns. Now you're ready to freaking hang yourself from the damn ceiling of the truck because your whole world's coming to an end. And that's just another way trucking has failed you, and you're going to leave trucking. You're going to be bitter. You're going to think lease is a ripoff, you know, yada, 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 yada. Now, again, I don't need the comments, you know, leasing at mega carriers are, you know, a ripoff. I could probably make another video on why I think leasing from a mega carrier costs what it does, my opinion on it, and it gives you something to think about. But I don't want this video to go too long. So my point of this video, these are all things you need to think about. These are things that are going to make you decide that trucking has failed you and that you're going to leave trucking. Big turnover in trucking. It is not for, I mean, I don't know what the exact number is, but I bet you close to 50% of people who get into trucking are out within a year or two. Probably 10-20% are out within 6 months. It's a lifestyle. It is not a job. It's a lifestyle. Guys, there are some disgusting things out here. I mean, things that'll turn your stomach that you see. 99% of the time when you get out of your truck at a truck stop, you smell piss. Okay, which means you're stepping in it, which means you're climbing into your truck with pissy shoes, which means you better be leaving your shoes up front here, and you have a nice carpet back there for your socks or bare feet in your living corners. this curtain here, you do not go past with shoes because you're dragging piss in, and that's disgusting. I keep looking at the wrong. Why do I always look over here and not over here? I even left Jeremy's little round thing from his text up so I had something to look at because it's right where the camera is. But anyways, whatever. So guys, I hope this helps some of you. Again, if this video seemed to be a bummer because you were all excited about coming trucking, I would rather you be bummed out and go, David H is an a-hole. He don't know what he's talking about, and things like that, because you want to go trucking so bad you're going to overlook the bad of trucking. That's fine. Leave your comments down below if you have any questions about it. I also have an Instagram page. It's DavidH6571 or at DavidH6571. You can leave. You can send me a message over there. It's the best way to message me. Like, say you want a phone number or something to call because you have questions. We can do that way. But you know, there's a lot of goods. I love it out here. I love trucking. I have a good time. I had a really bad first year. There was a lot of crap personally that went down. Didn't have good training. Had a truck breaking down a lot my first month or so. Luckily, I decided I didn't learn enough in training to go lease. I owned a business for 18 years. It made me think, oh, I can go lease, guy. I'm business savvy. Well, that's what I think ultimately made the decision not to go business. I did not know trucking well enough after I did my 30,000 miles. I didn't know so much. I was sitting there looking at the Qualcomm going, what did it just do? Why is there a map on it? But I struggled through as a company driver at first. Thank goodness I did, because if I was lease, I probably would have went bankrupt and walked away from trucking going, trucking's a joke, lease is a joke, because those breakdowns would have got me. Even though they would have been warranted, you're not making an income. This is why I'm not doing so bad, because after a year, I lost my little selfie light here. That one there, put a light on her, got on the truck, and we decided to go trucking together. She's ready to upgrade. She's going to become an AC driver here shortly. And yeah, so now we're running a team truck. As I'm leased, she's company. So her benefits for company, I'm going to benefit from. And we're making bank. We're going to be buying a house here probably within the next year or two, because we sold our house and we've been just stacking cash for retirement and everything. We've been living on the truck. That's a hard thing to do, guys. Enough of looking at her, because I know all you guys are going, oh my God, beautiful. Don't be looking at my wife like that.